Do good for others, it will return in unexpected ways. What is goodness, if not a seed cast into the soil of time? Some expect an immediate harvest, yet the wise know a virtue is its own reward. If you do good only for the sake of gain, have you truly done good? You have struck a bargain, not acted with nobility. The man who aids his brother and waits for payment is no different from the merchant who measures his coin. But the man who does good because it is in his nature, because he is a man of principle, he is like the tree that gives shade even to the woodcutter who fells it. Do not ask, "What will I receive in return?" That is the voice of the untrained mind. Instead, say, "What is right?" and do it. For the gods have set in motion a world of cause and effect beyond our seeing. The kindness you bestow today may return in a form unrecognized, at a time unexpected, from a hand unknown. A man who helps another in distress may one day find his own burden lifted by a stranger. A king may think his power shields him, but misfortune humbles all men. A beggar may believe himself forsaken, yet the kindness of a passer-by may alter the course of his days. Such is the hidden justice of the universe, which repays each man according to his actions and not always as he expects, but as he deserves. So do good, do it without hesitation, do it without thought of reward. And when the reward comes, as it surely will, do not marvel at the return, a marvel that you ever doubted. If a man performs a kindness with the expectation of reward, has he truly done good, or has he merely engaged in a transaction? The virtuous man does not ask what he will gain, nor does he keep an account of his deeds. He does what is right because it is in his nature to do so. A tree does not question why it gives shade, nor does the sun demand gratitude for its light. So too must a man act, and not as a merchant seeking profit, but as a being fulfilling his highest purpose. To do good only when one expects return is to make oneself a slave to fortune. Such a man is no different from a gambler who places his bet and waits anxiously for the outcome. But the wise man, the one who understands the order of the universe, knows that virtue is sufficient unto itself. If a fire warms a room, does it ask to be praised? If a river nourishes the fields, does it seek repayment? No, for these things act according to their nature. And so must a man. Yet, though the virtuous do not seek repayment, the order of the world is such that goodness does not vanish. Like a seed cast into fertile soil, it grows, often unseen, until the moment it is needed most. A kindness given today may return years later, in the hour of greatest need, from a hand unknown. This is not magic, nor is it mere chancia. It is the unfolding of cause and effect, the quiet justice of the universe. A man may help another in passing, thinking little of it, only to find himself aided when misfortune befalls him. A stranger may offer shelter to one in distress, and in a distant future, a door may open for him when all others are closed. These are not coincidences but the workings of a world that rewards virtue, not in the way a merchant pays his debts, but in ways beyond human foresight. Even the great and powerful are subject to the turns of fate. A ruler may believe himself above need, yet one day find his fortune reversed. Will he not wish then that he had been generous in his days of plenty? And the lowliest man, who believes he has nothing to give, may one day find that his smallest kindness has returned to him multiplied, a bridge where there once was none. To do good without expectation is to be free. The man who seeks nothing in return is never disappointed, never resentful. He does not measure his worth by the gratitude of others, nor does he grow bitter when his kindness seems to go unnoticed. He remains steady, as the mountain remains steady against the wind. And in time, when he least expects it, when he has long since forgotten the kindness he once gave, he will find himself standing in the shade of a tree he planted long ago. A man who does good only when he sees a reward ahead is no different from the merchant who weighs his gold. He gives not out of virtue but out of calculation, and in doing so, he lowers himself to a mere trader of favors. True goodness is not measured by the response it receives, nor does it seek recognition or repayment. It is its own justification, an act done because it is right, not because it is profitable. If a man lends his hand to another only when he is certain of repayment, he does not act with nobility, he engages in a bargain. But the man who aids another because it is in his nature to do so, without pause, without hesitation, and without thought of return, He alone understands what it means to live rightly. Just as the stars do not shine for gratitude, nor does the rain fall only where it is welcomed, the one who acts from principle does good because it is his duty, because it is the highest order of man to be just and kind. Yet those who act with true virtue often find that the good they do, though not sought after, returns in ways unseen. The man who lifts another from despair may one day find himself in darkness, and without asking, a hand will reach for him. He may not recognize the source of his salvation, for life does not return favors in the way men expect. A kindness offered in youth may bear fruit in old age. A debt repaid may not come from the one who owes it, but from a stranger whose face was once unknown. If a man builds a bridge, does he do so only for himself? No, he builds so that others may cross, never knowing who will pass, never waiting to be thanked. Yet one day, when he is lost and finds himself at the edge of a great river, he may discover a bridge built by another, allowing him to pass where he otherwise could not. This is the way of goodness. It is a foundation laid for those unseen, and in time, another will lay a foundation for him. The man who does good only for gain is easily shaken when his kindness is not returned. He grows bitter, wondering why his deeds have gone unrewarded, why those he has helped have not come back to serve him. But the man who does good because it is right knows that he has already received the greatest reward. He has remained true to himself. He does not need the world to repay him, for he has not acted as a beggar of fortune but as one who understands the order of things. One who gives expecting nothing is never disappointed, never resentful. His heart remains untroubled, for he has never placed his worth in the hands of others. He does not tally his good deeds as a banker tallies coin, nor does he seek to collect on old kindnesses. And yet, when he is most in need, he will find that what he once gave has never been lost. The river he once filled will flow back to him, the light he once shared will guide his way, and the good he once did, without seeking anything in return, will return to him in ways he never foresaw. The workings of the universe are not always visible to the eyes of men, yet they move with an order beyond understanding. Just as the seasons change without command, just as the river carves the stone with patience beyond years, so too does justice unfold in ways unseen. The man who does good and believes it is lost is like one who casts a seed into the earth and curses the ground for not giving fruit the next day. But the gods do not forget, and neither does the world. Every act of virtue is a force set in motion, rippling outward, touching lives in ways unknown, until the day comes when it returns in ways unimagined. A beggar is given food by a stranger, and the giver moves on, thinking little of it. Years pass, and fortune turns. The once giver now finds himself in need, and from the most unexpected hand, relief arrives. It may not be from the same man, nor in the same way, but the justice of the world does not work like a merchant's ledger. It does not repay in exact sums or measured transactions. It restores balance in ways that only time reveals. A man who saves another from ruin may one day find his own path blocked by misfortune. When all hope seems lost, a door opens, a hand reaches out, and he is lifted. He may not see the connection, he may not remember the moment when he himself acted with mercy, but the world remembers. The gods, who see all, have set in motion what must return. No kindness vanishes, just as no cruelty goes without consequence. The wheel turns, and each man meets again what he has sent forth. It is foolish to believe that goodness must be answered at once, or that justice should be swift. The oak does not rise in a night, nor does the river carve the canyon in a day. But time is the servant of justice, and the man who has given without demand will find that the unseen forces of the world have not been idle. One day, in the moment he least expects, in the hour when he has forgotten his own good deeds, they will return. Even the mighty are not beyond this law. A ruler who acts with cruelty may believe himself untouchable, yet the hour will come when he too will stand at the mercy of another. And the humble man, who believes his kindness was given into emptiness, will find himself repaid when the world turns in his favor. Let no man believe that his goodness is wasted. Let no man think that his kindness vanishes. The gods do not work in ways men understand, but they work all the same. The justice they weave is not one of immediate reward, but of deep and lasting balance. What is given in light is returned in light. What is sent forth in mercy will return in mercy. Each act of virtue moves like the wind and unseen, but never without effect. When a man stands at a crossroads and sees another in need, he must not linger in thought, weighing whether to act. The moment calls for him to extend his hand, not to question whether it is deserved or whether the favor will be returned. The right action is clear, and hesitation serves only to weaken the spirit. Just as the sun does not pause before rising, nor does the river question whether it should flow, so too must a man do good without delay. The one who stops to measure the worth of his kindness has already lost sight of virtue. If he asks himself whether his help will be appreciated, whether his generosity will be remembered, or whether it is wise to give without promise of return, he is no longer acting from goodness but from self-interest. True virtue does not seek assurance, it acts because it is right. The man who hesitates when he sees suffering is like a physician who delays treating the sick while pondering whether his efforts will be acknowledged. The time for thought has passed, the moment calls for action. A traveler may come across a wounded stranger on the road. If he stops to consider whether the man will ever repay him, if he wonders whether it is his duty or someone else's, the moment may pass, and the stranger may perish. But if he acts at once, without calculation, without hesitation, he will not only save a life, he will prove himself to be a man of principle. And though he may not expect it, though he may have forgotten the deed as soon as it was done, there may come a day when he himself is wounded, and a stranger will not hesitate to lift him. Hesitation is the child of fear, of selfishness, of the false belief that we must always protect our own interests before considering others. But what man truly prospers by keeping his hands closed? The one who helps freely, without thought of gain, will find that his generosity is returned in ways he could never have predicted. The river that gives itself to the fields is not diminished but renewed by the rains. The fire that gives warmth does not lose its light. The gods see the heart of a man, not his calculations. They do not reward the one who acts only when he is sure of the outcome, but the one who moves without hesitation when faced with what is right. A soldier does not question whether to defend his brother in battle. A mother does not pause before comforting her child. Why, then, should a man hesitate before doing good? The world turns in ways unknown, and the kindness given today may be the very thing that saves him tomorrow. What is given without hesitation carries the greatest power, for it is pure, untainted by self-interest. It is the act of a man who understands that goodness is not something to be measured, only to be done, and whether or not he ever sees the return, whether or not he ever knows how far his kindness has traveled, he will have done what was right, and that is enough. A man may plant a tree knowing he will never sit in its shade, yet one day, another will find shelter beneath its branches. He may give bread to a hungry traveler and never see him again, yet that same traveler may go on to ease the suffering of another. The good we do is never truly lost, though it may not return from the same hands to which it was given. The universe repays in its own way, in its own time, often through paths unseen and people unknown. It is the nature of the world that kindness moves like the wind, touching many without being traced to its source. A man who once gave without thought of return may find himself lifted by a stranger in his hour of need. He may wonder how such mercy has found him, forgetting the countless moments when he himself acted in the same spirit. The gods do not always send repayment from the same place a man has given. They weave a greater design, ensuring that no act of goodness is wasted. The one who expects his kindness to be repaid directly narrows his understanding of justice. He waits, watching those he has helped, growing resentful if they do not return the favor. But he has misunderstood the nature of virtue. The universe does not keep accounts in the way of men. A kindness may travel far before it finds its way back, returning in a form unrecognized, from a hand unfamiliar. The man who embraces this truth is never disappointed, for he does not seek repayment. He trusts that what is given in light will return in light, though its path may be unknown. A traveler may once offer shelter to a stranger, thinking little of it. Years later, in another land, when he himself is lost, a door may open for him without reason. A ruler may spare a life in mercy, and long after, in the moment of his own despair, an unseen force may spare him. Such things are not mere chance, nor are they coincidences. They are the echoes of past deeds, returning in the form needed most, at the time least expected. A man must not withhold goodness because he does not see its immediate return. He must not say, "I will give only to those who can repay me," for he does not know where his own path will lead. The servant may become a master, the strong may become weak, the rich may find themselves poor. Fortune turns, and when it does, it is not gold or power that saves a man, but the unseen kindness he once sent forth into the world. No one can say when or how the good they have done will return, only that it will. And when it does, it will come not as a debt repaid, but as a gift from the unseen order of things. The man who understands this does not count his kindnesses like a banker counts coins, so he gives freely, knowing that in ways beyond understanding, what is given is never truly lost. A king may sit upon his throne, commanding armies, shaping the fate of nations, yet he is not beyond the misfortune. A beggar may stand in rags, with nothing to his name, yet even he has the power to show kindness. Fortune does not bind itself to the wills of men, it turns as it pleases, lifting one and casting another down. The one who is mighty today may be brought low tomorrow, and the one who suffers today may rise in time. For this reason, no man should ever withhold mercy, nor should any man believe himself too small to offer it. The ruler who spares a prisoner with the belief that he will never need mercy himself is a fool, for he does not understand the nature of fate. Even the strongest arm will one day weaken, even the wealthiest man may find himself in ruin. It is not power that determines a man's worth but the way he wields it. A ruler who has been merciless will find no hand to lift him when he falls, while the one who has shown kindness will discover that the mercy he once gave returns to him when he least expects it. The weak man may think he has nothing to offer, but this too is an illusion. He who has no gold may still give compassion, he who has no authority may still offer a kind word. Even a beggar may one day shelter a prince in exile, for power is not fixed, and no man remains in his state forever. The smallest deed may one day return in ways beyond imagining, and the man who believes himself powerless may one day find himself repaid for a kindness he did not think was worth much. A warrior who stands victorious today must not forget that tomorrow he may be the one on his knees. If he has given no mercy, he will receive none. But if he has lifted the fallen, if he has spared the helpless, then when his own day of weakness comes, he will find hands reaching for him in return. The world does not forget such things. The mercy a man gives is not lost, it waits, unseen, for the day when he himself will need it. The one who believes himself above the need for kindness is blind. He does not see that strength is fleeting, that wealth is borrowed, that fortune does not answer to pride. But the wise man knows this well. He does not look down upon the suffering, nor does he withhold what he can give, for he understands that the balance of life shifts without warning. He gives not because he seeks return, but because he knows that what is given freely is never truly lost. No man is so powerful that he does not need the kindness of others. No man is so weak that he cannot offer it. To show mercy is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. And the day will come when the mighty will depend upon the kindness of those they once thought beneath them. A man gives freely, expecting nothing, and yet when goodness returns to him in ways unforeseen, he is filled with wonder, as if it were a rare thing. But should he be surprised? Should he marvel that kindness, once given, does not vanish? No, he should marvel instead at his own doubt, at the smallness of his faith in the order of things. For just as a seed does not fail to grow when placed in fertile soil, neither does an act of goodness fail to bear fruit in its time. The error is not in the world but in the mind that hesitates to trust it. A traveler lost in the desert may be given water by a stranger, who then continues on his way, expecting no return. Years later, the traveler, now a man of means, finds himself in the position to offer aid, and without thinking, he does so. The one he helps may not be the same man who once saved him, but the kindness he received has not been wasted, it has merely changed hands. Yet, when he sees the circle complete, he shakes his head in wonder, forgetting that the world has always worked in this way. To do good and doubt its return is to question the very nature of justice. It is to believe that kindness is swallowed by time, that mercy is a wasted effort. But this is the thinking of a man who has not yet seen beyond the moment. The wise man knows that even if he does not witness the return of his own deeds, they are not lost. A fire may light a room for others long after the one who lit it has departed. A bridge built today may serve those yet unborn. The reward is not always immediate, nor is it always recognizable, but it is always present. A man who has been generous may one day find himself in need, and when he is lifted by unexpected hands, he may stand in awe. But why should he be astonished? Did he not, at one time, do the same for another? He should not marvel at the justice of the world but at his own disbelief, his own momentary failure to trust that what is given freely is never truly lost. Even the smallest kindness has a way of finding its path back to the one who gave it. A word spoken in comfort, a hand offered in aid, a moment of patience with one who struggles, and none of these things vanish. They ripple outward, unseen, until the day comes when they return, sometimes in different forms, sometimes from different people, but never without purpose. It is not for a man to keep account, to measure what he has given against what he has received. The world does not balance itself in ways that can be counted like coins, but it does balance, and the one who trusts in this has no reason to marvel at its strata, only at the doubt he once held.